you're ready, Tina. Okay.
And Jesse, I'm also concerned about my ability to read the maps out of my binder when we are doing the redistricting.
Okay, we're gonna call the finance meeting, finance committee meeting to order of October 26th, 2021. The members of the finance committee are all present except for Miss Dixon. She is ill tonight. So we have two of us here. First item on the agenda is acceptance of the agenda. Do I hear a motion to accept the agenda?
So moved.
Okay, I'll second that. All in favor of accepting the agenda? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we haven't accepted the agenda. Approval of the minutes of September 28th, 2021. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
I'll second that motion, but I need to abstain because I was not here at the meeting. So do I hear?
I
You are
move
in
to
favor?
approve. Yes, I'm in
Okay,
favor.
we have approved the agenda. I mean, the minutes of the September 28th meeting. Under ordinance and resolutions, ordinance 2021-43, an ordinance amending budget ordinance 2021-22 to appropriate $925,000 from stormwater to drainage control. Do I hear a motion for discussion?
So moved.
Okay, I will second that. And I do have a question. And maybe this should be for Jesse. I understand that we originally thought that this was going to be covered under the ARPA funds.
We had originally intended to submit for some of these projects with the intention of using the ARPA funds, yes.
Okay, but understand that that hasn't been finalized yet because we're waiting for some guidance from the, is it from the controller's office?
It's actually from the Treasury, but the comptroller's office has advised cities to finalize their plans on the use of ARPA funds until the Treasury issues their final guidance.
Mhm.
And the Treasury initially had estimated that the guidance would have been out already, and they keep pushing the date further and further back. So it would have probably been a cleaner way for us to submit a project list, get it approved, add it to the budget as the ARPA, but
Mhm.
as the final guidance keeps getting pushed further and further back, we don't want to delay the projects just because the final guidance is pushed out.
Understand?
And we can, under the interim rule, you can go back and recapture expenses.
That was
are-
my next question.
So it is eligible, I think, from March 2020, you can go back to recapture those expenses. So we would again resubmit these expenses to the Treasury, and we basically take their funds and then reimburse the stormwater fund.
Okay, and so that we would have additional funds of $925,000 additional to spend for additional drainage projects at that point?
Potentially even more.
Okay, good.
If they're considered eligible
Mhm.
expenses.
If they get approved by the
Yes,
treasurer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that was my question on that.
I
Rachel?
want to say I appreciate that you put what for me is the bottom line, which that it doesn't impact the general fund. So I'm like, okay, we're good.
Yeah, it's coming out of the
Yeah.
stormwater fund.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions or discussion on this item?
I'm excited to get these projects done.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a vote. Let's, whoever is, recommend
I'm in
approval.
favor of it.
Say aye. Okay,
Aye.
we have recommended approval of ordinance 2021-43. Resolution 2021-50, a resolution authorizing the city to participate in a matching grant program to protect and to conserve city assets. Do I hear a motion for discussion?
I so move.
Okay, I will second that. Do we have any questions? It's a $5,000 match by the city. For parks.
It's a $5,000
It's up to five. They'll
Oh, up
match, they'll
to.
match up to five.
and we
Okay.
currently have 2,500.
That's what we're planning on spending.
Mhm.
So we're
Yeah.
asking for 20.
We'll hope to get 2,500 from them.
Yeah,
And it's 50/50.
if they gave us 5, we could.
That's what I meant.
If they gave, I mean, if we applied for 5, they could give us up to 5, but
Mhm.
I don't think our current asset budget allows for that. So we're gonna go for 2,500.
Anybody else? Okay, do I hear all in favor of approving? Do you have another question?
No, aye.
All in favor of approving resolution 2021-50, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that has been approved unanimously. Under other agenda items, we have our sales tax analysis report. And Robert?
Mr. Chairman, I wanted to make a note, the resolution just passed, Public Works passed it, and it's on the BOMA agenda because it's time sensitive, first come, first serve. as we
Okay,
apply.
are they going, is Public Works gonna add it to the agenda or are we? gonna-
It's on the agenda.
It's already on the agenda.
Okay, but we have to
The
formally
mayor
add
will
it.
bring it up to add it.
Okay, good.
It's on the, well, it's on the agenda. It's just noted that it's subject to this rule.
Okay, good. Okay, Robert, take it away with the sales tax.
So sales tax dipping a little bit, but still up from last year as anticipated, and certainly grown since the year before, up $183,000 year over year, and year to date up 611,000 since July. And that projected is around 12% over budgeted numbers. However, if we continue at this trend, it may increase or level out. We'll see, but as we kind of expected, September's going to dip just a little bit. But still good news all around, and hope to see that continue.
Any questions on that?
Our larger sales tax months are coming up. So
Yeah.
January's typically the
Mr.
heaviest.
Chairman?
Yes.
Robert, would you repeat those numbers again as far
Sure.
as year to date?
So September compared to last September, we're up $183,000
For the month.
just
Gotcha.
comparison of
That
month
makes
this
sense.
year to month last year.
Okay.
And then comparing all 3 months that we've seen, July, August, and September, we're up $611,000 first quarter to last quarter first quarter of this year to first quarter of last year.
Gotcha,
So,
gotcha.
Mhm.
Thank you.
absolutely.
Okay. Next on the agenda is the stormwater. or-
Well, I believe next is hotel motel report.
Okay,
You've got that in
Got
a supplement.
Okay.
That the due date for some of these funds is very close to our finance committee date, so sometimes we try and get the most accurate numbers. You'll notice a star by September's numbers there. We are missing 2 of our heaviest contributors here to this fund. So September's number 17,000, but we anticipate another at least 10,000 on top of that. So I think you can expect at least 27 to 28,000 for September. As it stands right now, we're up 1,900 over last year, but again, I expect that to be somewhere around $12,000, $13,000, grown from the COVID-19 impacted 2020 year. And that being said, we're certainly on pace to at least meet budgeted numbers, if not exceed them, probably by 25,000, I would guess, maybe a little more.
do you have any questions?
I have another question, Chairman.
Yes.
Related to the hotel tax, that is amazing how quickly you're able to get that information.
Sure.
Is that partly a forecast, or does the state give us our money that quickly?
So
It goes to the state?
that's a great question. So for the entities that are non-Airbnb, non-VRBO, however you want to classify it, they pay us direct versus sales tax. They would report to the state. The state would, after they close their books, the state would then report it and then issue us. So it'll be 2 months behind. Whereas hotel motel, they're paying us directly for any of the commercial businesses around here. The Airbnb, they have an option to either pay direct to the state or to us. So
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, anybody else have anything? All right, on to the inline hockey project update, and we will have a separate little sheet on that. I don't know if Robert wants to give the update on that, or Robert and Andy, or Robert, Andy, and Sarah,
Or Jesse.
or Jesse.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to leave you out.
I'm
But
happy-
who
I'm
wants to
happy
take the lead on that, Robert?
I'm happy to kick it off and then I'll let others add to it, but I'm trying to simplify this sheet, maybe bold a couple of numbers and we'll keep working, plugging away at it. But as you can see, we're about 50% of the way expended through this inline hockey construction project. And I will leave it to Mr. Gilly or whomever else to opine on whether that equals 50% of the completion of work, or if that's just in arrears there. But I think all intents and purposes, my understanding is things are going smoothly. Turn that over.
I
Andy?
can't tell you exact percentage of work completed, but that's probably pretty close, if not a little more than 50% being completed.
It looks great.
Beautiful.
It's a heck of a project.
Beautiful. Okay, any other discussion on that? No unexpected items happening there, right?
Except the primer.
Yeah.
Any painted and it's
The paint.
beautiful and white paint.
I haven't seen that yet. I'll have to drive by and look.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the fire hall number 7 update.
Not a ton to update here. I just thought I would at least put that on there, get you all used to seeing it. And for when we do get into into the actual work, the majority of what's been expended here has been site geological survey and design and engineering plans for the building itself is the majority of what we've seen expended so far. So more to come as things unfold, but right now not a ton to update you on.
Jesse, I have a question. Any update on the special committee with the county negotiations on what's going on there?
We actually have a meeting. So Chief Bush, the mayor, and I have a meeting this Friday with Mr. Taylor. So I hope to be able to, or I hope that the mayor's able to kind of give an update after we meet with Mr. Taylor. It's in regards to the MOU that we sent the county. They have, I think, gone through a preliminary review, so we have comments, and I don't know that we're going to get a quick answer, but we are doing everything we can to be as responsive and as quick in our response to them as possible.
Is this whole project going to be rebid at some point?
Yes.
I mean,
Well,
how is that
We
going to
just have
work?
an estimate right now on what we haven't went out for a bid yet. That's why the numbers are low. We've only spent 2.8 because all we've done is design plans and do some geological surveys out there. So we actually just got an update today on the meeting to review the construction drawings. And the construction drawings are when you're further along in the plans, designs have been done. Now you're getting into the details of the construction drawings. So once we work probably another couple weeks to go through those, we might be in a position in maybe 2 months to go out to bid. At that point, we'll get an actual hard cost of what it's going to be. Right now, we have a projection to our designers that, hey, based on the latest fire hall that got bid, this was the cost based on your size. This is what we're projecting your fire hall to be. But it's just an estimate right now until we actually go out and get a bid.
Okay.
So if we go out and get a bid and it's substantially higher than what we anticipated, then we'll have to consider how we move the project forward at that point. But until we have a bid,
There's nothing definitive.
I don't really know how much more.
It's just abstract right now.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, we know costs have gone up.
yes, we do. We know that, and we're in negotiations with the county on an MOU. So I think there's several factors in play right now that we need to consider.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, Rachel? Do you have anything, or staff or Jonathan?
Not yet.
All right, moving on along, we have the ECD report and pilot program discussion, and I'm going to let Rob lead that.
Thank you. So I developed this PowerPoint presentation to give a little context to what we're discussing tonight, which is the pilot program, the payment in lieu of tax program. The state affords local communities two incentives that they can offer. One is a TIF, which we have experience with here in Hendersonville, and the other is a pilot program, which I don't believe we've had any experience with for decades, I believe. What we're introducing tonight is a program that we put together, and we want to just talk about what the framework looks like tonight. So there's no real need for approval. We want to just give the information to the finance committee and then take it on to BOMA so everybody's aware of it. We're on the same page. And if at some point in the future it is offered, that it's not a surprise to anybody. So you go to the next slide, please, team. So this presentation is heavy on the text, so I'm not going to read it all to you, but I wanted to give you, again, some background. You can see from the Tennessee Code Annotated Section 753-101 that a project can be warehousing, distribution, manufacturing, and can include retail, but that's very unusual to offer a pilot for retail. It typically works better on retail for a TIF. You can look at how the pilots work. The Industrial Development Board is the authorized board to offer and execute pilots via the state. The Industrial Development Board will manage all the documents. They will execute it, as I said. It's actually a process where the property owners sign over their building to the Industrial Development Board, and then the board leases the building back to the company, and that's what allows the abatement to occur. As long as the Industrial Development Board holds the property, they're able to abate those taxes. Next slide. So this is just some general information. We talked a little bit about the types of eligible projects, usually larger scale projects, manufacturing, distribution, headquarters and office, and retail is atypical, as I said. Where can those occur in Hendersonville? A project can occur anywhere within the city. So wherever there's a headquarter office site or an industrial site, the project is eligible within the city limits. The benefits of a pilot, there's obviously a benefit to the city. Again, it's one of two incentives permitted by the state, and it allows us to be competitive with other cities and counties within Tennessee that are offering pilots. It also allows us to be competitive with communities outside of Tennessee that may offer cash grants, free buildings, free land, workforce grants. So this is the tool that we can use to help be competitive on projects. Of course, it's beneficial to the company because it lowers their tax burden during the highest point of investment. Next. So to alleviate any concerns about what the pilot will look like, how it's reported, the Tennessee Comptroller of the Treasury says that the payment in lieu of tax agreements have to report it to the comptroller. It's an annual report. It goes through the Commissioner of Economic and Community Development as well. It is done after a cost benefit analysis, which we'll see on the next page. And that cost benefit analysis is provided by the comptroller. So it is it's a very open process, and they are public documents, so it is open. Next, please. So hard to see that, but that is that's the cost benefit analysis form provided by the Treasury. So that will be filled out before any pilot is offered. I know you can't see it, but just so you know, there is a document, an official document that's provided through the state that is required for this project. So the next few slides are just communities that are offering this. I just wanted to show you that this is not unique or unusual across the state. And in fact, in Middle Tennessee, most other communities are offering pilots.
Such as?
Knoxville This is Knox County, so this doesn't provide the details and the numbers to the project, but this is all comes from their website. So they're actually promoting this via their website. So any businesses that are interested in that community can see that will be offered a pilot if it meets the criteria. Next one. Rutherford County, we talked about a little bit. Wilson County, they also offer incentives. They all look a little bit different, and they're a little bit hesitant, I would say, to share with other communities because it is part of their competitive process. But you can see just through this that these are directly from the website. Robertson County, our neighbors, offers pilot. I know that they go up to 20 years, which is the max without state approval. So they are very aggressive, and you'll see that through some of the rural communities that have to be more aggressive in going after these projects. Williamson County, even the counties that have been very successful, they still are providing pilots to specific companies, but they're not as quick to offer that because they have other assets and successes that they can look back on and say, these companies are thriving and growing in our community. And then you've got Nashville and Gallatin that also offered as well. They manage it differently in cities. There are some cities that have to look at each project on its own. Other cities actually approve the framework, and then that their economic development person is allowed to offer that to any companies without approval. So you can do it different ways. Next. So the city of Hendersonville, you have a document that basically says what you see on the screen, because again, it's hard to read. So this just takes us through the process, what the city of Hendersonville is looking to offer and the criteria that it bases the tiered program on, which is capital investment, job creation, and average wages. The average wages need to exceed the existing wages within the community. It does have a procedure, so pro forma will have to be done through the tax assessor. So we'll know what current taxes are, what will be abated, and then what those taxes may look like once the abatement moves its way through the process. Again, you can see the incentives on the document in front of you because you can't really see them up there. But what I've done is looked at multiple communities across the state and positioned us somewhere in the middle of those communities in terms of how aggressive we are. Like, as I said, some communities can offer up to 20 years. Our tiers only go up to 10 max. The tiers and the numbers decrease as the pilot goes in length of years. So you can see tier 1 is a 250,000 capital investment, 25 full-time jobs. And that's eligible for only up to a 3-year abatement, and only 1 year is at 100%. Tier 2 gets a little bit more aggressive. Capital investment goes up to $500,000 and creates 50 full-time jobs. And that's a 5-year abatement. So, and again, the percentage of abatement decreases as the years increase. And then the last one is tier 3. That's $1 million capital investment with 100 jobs. And these are all full-time equivalent jobs. We do not consider part-time jobs as part of the job creation. And this goes up to 10 years on real and personal property, with the first 2 years at 100%, and then decreasing down to 20% years 9 and 10. And then that's just the finish of the tier 3 continued on the personal property. And then I just wanted to show this just for some context. I looked at 6 separate parcels in the industrial development park, in the industrial park up on Free Hill. And on those 6 parcels, the city tax collections are on the high at $2,100 per year and on the low at $704 per year. So out of those 6 parcels, the city collects less than $6,000 in property taxes annually.
These are empty.
These are empty.
parcels. Okay.
So when we talk about pilots, we tend to talk about what we're giving up.
Mhm.
But if we look at the numbers, most of these properties are zoned industrial or they're zoned ag. And the current property taxes on those, as you see, are not nothing, but they're next to nothing. So the real way to really look at this is not the monies that we're giving up on the front end, but what will those tax collections look like in year 6 or in year 10? And that RO, that return on investment comes pretty quick after the abatement ends. And so that's just to provide some numbers to what we're talking about, because it can be pretty abstract when you're just talking about abatements and percentages. And but you can see that the tax collections just up in Free Hill are pretty low.
And that's just property taxes.
That's
That
just
doesn't,
property taxes.
that doesn't include any kind of sales tax that would be generated by the people that are
That's
working there.
correct. Or employee
that's
spends, or
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
all
yeah.
the things that come along with that kind of
Mhm.
investment.
Housing and such.
So we just wanted to put it up for discussion tonight. We'd like to take it to BOMA again to have the same presentation. So again,
So this is on
everybody
it
can put up,
tonight, right?
everybody can put eyes on it. And so any questions, I'm open. Or
Do we need to have a resolution to present to BOMA, or?
we don't. It really is just a matter of information and collaboration to make sure that everybody's comfortable with what we take to the Industrial Development Board to present to them.
And it's on the agenda.
So you're
It's
just,
not on the agenda for tonight.
you're asking us to recommend that the Industrial Development Board do this, but we don't need to vote or anything. I mean,
I'm
We can just
asking
say-
for support of the document so I can then take it to the Industrial Development Board and present it to them. And there may be a comeback to you after that, there may not be. But I will at least be able to say to the board, to the Industrial Development Board, BOMA has seen this, everybody's comfortable with this document. So at that point, if the IDB approves it, then we can have that in place.
I'm especially just want to say for the record that I like these tiers as our opening offer. And that they shouldn't be considered a final offer because they're not very aggressive. So for the right business, this is an opening offer.
Yeah,
And for
there's,
some businesses, this isn't going to be offered.
right, that's correct.
So
Yeah, I've put in on the front page of the physical document that the Hendersonville Industrial Development Board reserves the right of flexibility for what
That's
might
right.
be deemed special projects. So companies that offer extraordinary value to the community through wage rates, partnership opportunities, national name recognition, or are a key part of an existing cluster of business. So this is the framework. The Industrial Development Board, along with BOMA, does have the ability and the flexibility, more importantly, to
that's
make
right.
different offers if necessary.
So we could, in other words, we could change the metrics of why they're doing what they're doing. In other words, we don't have to keep to the metrics of 25 jobs, 40, the annual earnings, potential earnings, the investment. We could maybe add metrics to that or enhance the metrics that are already there. Is that right?
You can. I just think if we do get to a agreed upon framework and then we decide we want to put it on the website, we need to be careful with switching those around because you don't want one company to receive an offer that brings to the table the same thing as another company that might receive a different offer. So
Well, it would
You just
be a
have to-
case by case basis.
it will, but if you're promoting it externally, then there's
The framework
Expectations are
there.
out there.
Okay, gotcha.
Mhm.
so.
Understood.
Any other questions from anybody else? Okay, I mean, I don't know if we should vote on this or
I don't think we have to.
I don't think we have to.
Just both said
Uh,
we support it.
What was
publicly, so.
Alderman Dixon's response?
Well,
'Cause
it's,
I know that you met with
she
her.
was very positive. In fact, I was a little disappointed she wasn't here tonight because she has a personal and professional experience with this. The company that she worked for in North Carolina actually received incentives from that state to build the facility. And then years later, when they expanded, they got more incentives to expand in the facility. So she's got experience with incentives being offered to companies.
Well, hopefully she'll be able to
Mhm.
speak to it
Yeah,
at BOMA.
yeah.
When it comes
for
to,
sure.
is it coming to BOMA in 2 weeks or? You're gonna put it on the agenda in 2 weeks or is it gonna be tonight?
No, it's not gonna be tonight. We can do it 2 weeks.
2 weeks? Yeah, that'll be appropriate. Because then we'll have to wait until, if it's not done in 2 weeks, we might have to wait until December. I'd say, let's get this
Okay,
baby going.
great. Thank you so much.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody else have anything? Okay, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second, all in favor to adjourn?